A holographic image of Earth hovers above the grand chamber, casting a blue glow over the assembly. Representatives from countless species murmur in concerned tones. "Humans defy logic," says a tall, green-skinned representative with a solemn expression. "Their resilience is unlike anything we've seen." "We underestimated them," responds another, an insectoid being with twitching antennae. "Can they truly stand against the Zergothans?" The murmurs grow louder, filled with both fear and admiration for the unpredictable newcomers. Commander Jack Lawson stands at the center of the bustling bridge, eyes fixed on the tactical display. The rugged Australian exudes confidence, a stark contrast to the chaos around him. "Status report," Jack demands, his voice cutting through the noise. "Shields holding at 70%, Commander," Lieutenant Sarah Jenkins responds, her fingers dancing over the controls. "Weapons systems are primed and ready." Jack nods, his gaze hardening. "We've trained for this. We know what's at stake." His mind flashes back to a haunting memory, the Zergothan attack on a human colony, his family's screams still echoing in his ears. That day had forged his resolve, turning grief into determination. The vastness of space is alive with the movement of ships. Human vessels, sleek and angular, dart through the void, engaging with the organic, shimmering forms of the Zergothan fleet. Energy beams and missiles crisscross, creating a chaotic ballet of destruction. "Focus your fire on their weak points," Jack commands through the comms. "We can win this." Human ships move with precision, targeting the Zergothan vessel's vulnerable spots. Explosions ripple through the enemy lines, but the Zergothans quickly adapt, their advanced technology pushing back against the human assault. The Zergothan leader, tall and ethereal, watches the unfolding battle on a holographic display. His calm demeanor belies the tension in the room. "They're learning," he muses, "but they're still far from victory." Alarms blare as the flagship shudders under a direct hit. "Hull integrity down to 30%. Sarah shouts. "We can't take another hit like that." Jack grips the edge of the command console. "All hands, brace for impact. Prepare for emergency maneuvers." The ship lurches violently, but the crew holds their ground. Jack's voice, steady and firm, cuts through the chaos. "We're not done yet. Lieutenant Jenkins, what's our status?" "Shields are regenerating, but we're still vulnerable," Sarah replies, her voice edged with tension. Jack's eyes narrow. "Regroup and counterattack. We need to keep the pressure on." The human fleet regroups, launching a coordinated assault on the Zergothan mothership. Ships weave through enemy fire, their weapon systems glowing with lethal intent. "Commander, I've found a vulnerability." Sarah's voice crackles over the comms. "We need to concentrate our fire here." Jack's face lights up with a fierce grin. "You heard the lieutenant. Focus all fire on that point." The fleet converges, their combined firepower hammering the weak spot in the Zergothan defenses. The mothership shudders under the onslaught, its sleek surface erupting in a cascade of sparks and debris. The Zergothan leader's calm facade cracks for the first time. "They're exploiting our weakness. Prepare for countermeasures." Jack's voice is a rallying cry. "We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone back home. Let's finish this." The crew's resolve hardens, their movements synchronized and precise. Each blast, each maneuver, a testament to their unyielding spirit. Human ships press the attack, taking heavy casualties but refusing to back down. The Zergothan mothership, once a symbol of invincibility, now falters under the relentless human assault. Almost there, Sarah's voice is strained but determined. "Just a little longer." The flagship shakes violently as it takes another hit. Jack steadies himself, his gaze locked on the tactical display. "We can't afford to lose momentum." "Push forward." The Zergothan mothership's defenses weaken further, its energy surges becoming erratic. Human ships press the advantage, their combined firepower focused and unrelenting. Suddenly, the Zergothan mothership fires a massive energy beam, tearing through the human ranks and slamming into the flagship. The ship rocks violently, systems sparking and failing. "Brace for impact," Jack shouts. "All hands, prepare for emergency maneuvers." The human flagship's bridge was a scene of controlled chaos. Red emergency lights flashed as alarms blared, filling the air with urgency. Commander Jack Lawson stood at the center, his voice cutting through the noise. Hull integrity down to 30%. We can't take another hit like that. Lieutenant Sarah Jenkins shouted, her fingers flying over the controls. Jack gripped the edge of the command console, eyes scanning the readouts. The Zergothan mothership had just unleashed a devastating energy beam, crippling their defenses. Despite the overwhelming odds, there was no trace of defeat in his eyes. "Damage report," Jack barked. "Engines are holding, but shields are failing," reported Ensign Hughes, his voice strained but steady. "Divert all power to forward shields and prepare for a counterattack," Jack ordered, his tone resolute. "We're not done yet." Outside, the battle raged. Human ships regrouped, their movements precise and coordinated. They might not have the advanced technology of the Zergothans, but what they lacked in sophistication, they made up for in tenacity. "Commander, I've found a vulnerability." Sarah's voice crackled through the comms, a note of hope cutting through the tension. "It's small, but if we concentrate our fire here, we can break through their defenses." Jack's eyes flicked to the tactical display, where Sarah had highlighted a weak spot on the Zergothan mothership. It was a long shot, but it was their best chance. "Good work, Jenkins," Jack said, a flicker of a smile crossing his lips. "All units, focus fire on the coordinates provided by Lieutenant Jenkins. This is our shot." The fleet responded instantly. Missiles and energy beams converged on the targeted area, creating a brilliant cascade of explosions. The Zergothon mothership shuddered, its once impenetrable hull starting to crack. Inside the Zergothan command center, the leader watched the holographic display with narrowed eyes. He could see the humans adapting, their strategy evolving with every passing second. "They're learning," he murmured to his officers. "We must not underestimate them." The human fleet pressed their advantage, their coordinated assault pushing the Zergothans to the brink. Ships moved in unison, pilots communicating with a level of synchronicity that spoke to months of rigorous training and an unbreakable spirit. "Stay focused," Jack urged his crew, his voice a steady anchor amid the chaos. "We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone back home." As the battle intensified, human ships took heavy casualties. The bridge shuddered with each hit, but the resolve of the crew never wavered. They were determined to see this through, no matter the cost. "We're almost there." Sarah's voice came through the comms again, filled with determination. "Just a little longer." Jack watched as the targeted area of the Zergothan mothership began to glow, the internal structure weakening under the relentless assault. They were so close to victory, he could almost taste it. But the Zergothans were not done yet. In a desperate move, the mothership began charging another massive energy surge, its core glowing ominously. Evasive maneuvers. "Now!" Jack shouted, his heart pounding. "All units, fall back and regroup." The fleet scattered, ships darting away from the impending blast. The Zergothan mothership unleashed its energy surge, a blinding flash that illuminated the battlefield. Several human ships were caught in the blast, their destruction a stark reminder of the stakes. Despite the losses, the human fleet maintained their formation, ready for the next phase of the battle. Jack took a deep breath, steadying himself. "We're going in." "Prepare for boarding," he commanded, his voice filled with determination. In the hangar bay, Jack and a small team, including Sarah, suited up for the boarding mission. The atmosphere was tense but resolute, every member of the team knowing the importance of their task. "Commander, we'll make it back," Sarah said quietly, her eyes meeting Jack's. "I believe in us." Jack nodded, a rare moment of softness in his expression. "We will, Jenkins. We have to." They launched towards the Zergothan mothership, their small shuttle weaving through the debris and defensive fire. The tension was palpable as they breached the hull and entered the enemy ship. Inside, the corridors were a labyrinth of alien architecture, pulsing with an eerie light. Jack led the way, his focus unyielding. They moved swiftly, encountering pockets of resistance. "Stay close and cover each other," Jack instructed, his voice calm and authoritative. The team fought their way through, their movements precise and efficient. The Zergothans were formidable, but the humans had the element of surprise and the will to succeed. Finally, they reached the core, a vast chamber filled with pulsating energy. The team spread out, planting explosives at key points. "This is for everyone we lost," Sarah said as she set the final charge, her voice steady. Suddenly, the Zergothan leader appeared, flanked by guards. The air crackled with tension as he faced Jack, an unspoken challenge in his gaze. "You cannot win, human." "We are eternal," the leader said, his voice calm yet menacing. Jack stepped forward, his eyes blazing with determination. "Not today," he replied, raising his weapon. The two leaders stood off, the fate of their people hanging in the balance. The team completed their mission, knowing the real battle was just beginning. As the final explosives were set, Sarah looked at Jack, a determined glint in her eyes. "Let's finish this, Commander." The void of space, a canvas of twinkling stars and infinite darkness, was alight with the ferocity of battle. Human ships, agile and relentless, danced around the gargantuan Zergothan mothership, striking at its weakest points. The mothership, though heavily damaged, still emanated an aura of invincibility, its biometal hull shimmering with an eerie, regenerative glow. Inside the human flagship's hangar bay, the atmosphere was tense. Commander Jack Lawson, armored and resolute, addressed his team. "This is it. We board, we plant the charges, and we get out. Fast and clean." "Any questions?" Lieutenant Sarah Jenkins, her face a mix of determination and nervous energy, stepped forward. "Sir, if we encounter heavy resistance..." Jack's gaze was unwavering. "We adapt. We improvise. We survive. Remember, every second counts." With a final nod, the team boarded the dropship. The hangar doors opened, revealing the chaotic battle outside. The dropship launched, weaving through debris and laser fire, heading straight for the Zergothan mothership's hangar. As the dropship approached, the team could see the scale of destruction inflicted by the human fleet. Fires raged, and sections of the hull were torn open, exposing the ship's organic interior. The dropship landed with a jolt, and the team disembarked, weapons at the ready. Inside, the Zergothon corridors were a labyrinth of bioluminescent veins and pulsing walls. The team moved quickly, Jack leading the way. "Stay tight. Eyes open." Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the sound of approaching footsteps. Zergothan soldiers, towering and otherworldly, emerged from the shadows. Their eyes glowed with an alien intelligence, and their weapons hummed with lethal energy. "Engage!" Jack commanded. A fierce firefight erupted. Human soldiers, trained and disciplined, took cover and returned fire. Sarah, her movements precise, targeted the Zergothan weak spots, felling enemies with each shot. The Zergothans, though formidable, were taken aback by the ferocity and coordination of the humans. In the midst of the battle, Jack noticed a control panel embedded in the wall. "Cover me!" he shouted, sprinting towards it. He accessed the panel, navigating the alien interface with surprising ease. "This way," he called, overriding the security systems and opening a path deeper into the ship. The team pressed on, encountering pockets of resistance, but overcoming them with determination and tactical precision. The core was close, its pulsating energy felt through the walls. As they neared, the resistance intensified. A Zergothan officer, larger and more menacing than the others, blocked their path. "You shall not pass, humans," it hissed, its voice resonating with unnatural power. Jack stepped forward, weapon raised. "Get out of our way." The officer charged, but Sarah intercepted, using her agility to outmaneuver it. A brutal melee ensued, with Sarah delivering a decisive blow, disabling the officer. The path to the core was clear. Entering the core chamber, the team was awestruck by its scale. The room was dominated by a massive, throbbing energy sphere, tendrils of light extending from it, feeding the ship's systems. Jack quickly assigned tasks. Plant the charges around the sphere. Make sure they're secure. As they worked, the Zergothan leader appeared, flanked by elite guards. Its presence was commanding, its eyes filled with both anger and a strange, grudging respect. "Humans, I underestimated you. Jack stood tall, facing the leader. Your time is over. Surrender, and maybe we can save your people. The leader's laugh was cold. We do not surrender. We are eternal. The elite guards attacked, and the room erupted in chaos. Jack and his team fought fiercely, but the Zergothans were relentless. Sarah, despite her injuries, fought with unmatched bravery, protecting the team as they completed their task. Amidst the battle, the charges were set. Jack activated the detonator's timer. Time to go, he shouted. As they made their way out, Sarah was hit, her scream piercing the din. Jack rushed to her side. Sarah, stay with me. She looked at him, pain etched on her face. Go, I'll hold them off. Jack's heart wrenched, but he knew she was right. He nodded, gripping her hand. You're a hero, Sarah. We'll never forget. With a final defiant smile, Sarah turned to face the oncoming Zergothans, buying time for her team. Jack and the remaining soldiers raced back to the dropship, the ship's internal alarms blaring. They barely made it out before the charges detonated. The core exploded in a blinding flash, ripping through the mothership, causing a cascade of secondary explosions. The once mighty vessel began to collapse in on itself. The human dropship sped away, Jack watching as the Zergothan mothership was consumed by fire. His heart was heavy with the loss of Sarah, but her sacrifice had not been in vain. The human fleet regrouped, battered but victorious. They had faced an ancient, seemingly immortal race and emerged triumphant. The cost was high, but they had proven that humanity, with its resilience and unyielding spirit, could overcome even the most formidable of foes. The corridor leading to the Zergothan mothership's core was a labyrinth of sleek metal and pulsating lights, every twist and turn echoing with the sounds of battle. Jack Lawson's heart pounded as he led his team through the narrow passages, their footsteps barely audible over the ship's alarms. We're almost there, Jack said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Stay focused. Sarah Jenkins, clutching her side where a laser bolt had grazed her, nodded determinedly. We've got this, Commander. For Earth. Reaching the core chamber, they were confronted with an imposing sight, a vast, glowing sphere suspended by intricate machinery, the very heart of the Zergothan power. Jack's eyes narrowed as he took in the scene, formulating a plan. We need to plant the charges around the support struts, he instructed. That'll bring this whole thing down. As they moved to set the explosives, the doors to the chamber slid open, revealing the Zergothan leader. Tall and serene, with eyes that glowed with a cold, unearthly light, he stepped forward with an air of unshakable calm. You believe you can destroy us? The leader's voice was a low, resonant hum. We have existed for millennia. You are but a momentary flicker. Jack stepped between his team and the alien, his resolve unbroken. It's not about believing. It's about doing what needs to be done. With a sudden, fluid motion, the Zergothan leader attacked, a beam of energy crackling from his hand. Jack dodged, rolling to the side as the beam scorched the floor where he had stood. The battle was swift and brutal. The leader's strikes were precise, but Jack's determination drove him forward. Sarah, now, Jack shouted as he grappled with the leader. Sarah, despite her injuries, finished setting the last charge. She glanced at Jack, her eyes filled with a mix of pain and determination. It's done, she said, her voice strained. The Zergothan leader, realizing the impending defeat, unleashed a desperate surge of energy. Sarah was caught in the blast, thrown against the wall. Jack's heart clenched as he saw her crumple to the ground. Sarah! He cried, rushing to her side. She looked up at him, her breath shallow. Finish it, Jack. You have to. For all of us. Fury and grief surged within him, but Jack knew there was no time for hesitation. He activated the detonator and pulled Sarah into his arms, making a desperate dash for the exit. The walls shook with the force of the explosions as they raced through the corridors, the ship's integrity failing. Reaching the hangar bay, Jack signaled for an emergency extraction. A dropship swooped in, its hatch opening just in time for them to leap aboard. The dropship sped away, the Zergothan mothership erupting into a cascade of fiery debris behind them. Get us clear, Jack ordered, holding Sarah tightly as the medics rushed to tend to her. The human fleet watched from a distance as the Zergothan mothership disintegrated, the destruction signaling their hard-won victory. Cheers erupted across the comms, but Jack's focus remained on Sarah. "Hang in there, Jenkins," he whispered, his voice breaking. "We're almost home." Back on Earth, a somber memorial service was held for those who had fallen. The sky was a brilliant blue, a stark contrast to the heavy hearts gathered below. Jack stood before the assembled crowd, his uniform crisp, his expression resolute. "They gave everything for our future," he began, his voice carrying across the silent field. "Sarah Jenkins, and countless others like her, showed us what it means to be human. To fight against impossible odds, to sacrifice for the greater good, and to never give up hope." He paused, looking out at the faces of families, friends, and comrades. "We honor their memory by continuing their legacy, by building a future worthy of their sacrifice." As the ceremony concluded, Jack found a quiet moment alone by a newly erected monument, its surface etched with the names of the fallen. He traced his fingers over Sarah's name, a silent promise forming in his heart. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the mood had shifted. Representatives spoke with newfound respect for humanity, acknowledging their unexpected strength and resilience. "Humans have shown they are more than we ever imagined," one representative stated, echoing the sentiments of many. Jack, now back on his flagship, received the transmission from the council. He listened quietly, absorbing the weight of their words. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, but at a tremendous cost. Standing alone on the bridge, Jack looked out at the expanse of space, the stars glittering like distant promises. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but humanity had proven it could face whatever came next.